What's up, guys? It's KB. Make sure you subscribe to the Underground Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. Click the bell icon down below so you don't miss a single video from us. And thanks for tuning in to another video from Underground Sports Philadelphia. Now let's get into it.
Philadelphia, baby, you're going to love it. Best sports fans in the world. Actually, the worst, but that's what makes them the best.
What is going on, OTB Nation? Welcome into episode number 359 of the award-nominated, honorably mentioned, number 9 NCAA ranked, and of course, viewable on YouTube, Outside the Box podcast, the official lacrosse podcast on the Underground Sports Philadelphia Podcast Network. It's KB and Deej coming at you with a loaded NLL slate to break down a mini week, which is great for my mentals because not only are the Wings off this week, but it's nice to have a short little week going into one of the biggest weeks of the year for our company. We'll get into that, and we'll get into the WLL rosters that were revealed today as we record this on Thursday. But before we get into everything, make sure you guys are following us on the socials at OTB LaxPod across the board. Follow DJ at SCS_next Chase at the PLL Pipeline, Hoots at Hoot Sports Media. Do we have Hoots on the ground this week? No, they're on the road. No. And you can follow me at KBICCL311. Subscribe to the pod, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts in audio form. Leave a 5-star review. It helps the show continue to grow, helps more people find OTB, helps more people find Underground Sports Philadelphia. And shout out to Mike Rabel. He gave the boys a shout out, and me in particular, on the Boston Battery podcast. So go listen to that. We'll link that in the description for everybody. Go check that episode out. It's really good. Good insight from the big dog.
Thanks, Mike.
Shout out to the OG. But yeah, subscribe to the podcast in audio form, and then subscribe to what? You good?
Yeah.
I know you've been going through it this week, but damn.
Dog, it's been a week.
I thought you had like the thing from Alien coming out your throat.
I was just trying to make sure I didn't pack up a
Die.
Yes.
It's like the Alaskan bullworm. Sandy, that's its tongue. If this is the tongue, then where's its body?
I'm okay though.
And DJ will be really okay if you guys subscribe to the YouTube channel, youtube.com/@Underground Sports Philadelphia. It's where you get full video episodes of this show every single week, full video episodes of every show on our network, clips, shorts, live streams, original video content. It's all on our YouTube channel. We are 94 subscribers away from 1,000. Let's get there before February 7th, which is the anniversary of Underground Sports Philadelphia coming to life. Hit that subscribe button, smash the like button, ring the bell icon, and leave a comment down in the comment section. And of course, guys, this show is proudly presented by Shootout For Soldiers.
Darn.
What happened?
I was just thinking of something really cool. Us like getting to 1,000 before Champ Series, but the Water Dogs aren't there. So I was going to say it'd be cool if like we got video of me shooting on DeLuca for 1K.
I mean, we could backdate it.
That's true.
We could always say this is for.
That's true. Matt,
the boy.
You heard it here.
But yeah, we're 94 subscribers away. Let's go. Let's go. But this show is proudly presented by Shootout For Soldiers. And guys, we talked to you a little bit last week about their schedule. We're going to talk to you about it again. Their 2025 schedule taking shape. Go to shootoutforsoldiers.com/events and register. There's still time to register. It's still late January. You still got a little bit of time. The High Point University Military Appreciation Games on February 15th. Shootout For Soldiers Houston, Texas, March 8th and 9th. Shootout For Soldiers Jacksonville, North Carolina on May 25th. Shootout For Soldiers Long Island on July 9th and 10th. And Shootout For Soldiers Colorado on August 9th. The link is in the description to register. You can figure out how you can volunteer. They are looking for volunteers right now as well. And you can also find out how to donate to Shootout For Soldiers. It's bridging community with the sport of lacrosse to help our nation's veterans. who have served our country, and they just do such a great job of bringing the communities together for some of the best like bonding and like camaraderie events that you will ever experience. So go to shootoutforsoldiers.com/events, register, figure out how to donate, volunteer. And we thank Shootout for Soldiers for being a proud partner and presenting partner of the Outside the Box podcast. What's poppin', Deej? It is it's a big week for the company. I know you obviously would love for your Packers to be in this situation, but if anything, it's good for business that the Birds are in the NFC Championship game.
Oh, listen. We ain't even got to talk about the Packers.
Fair.
We've talked about this the last couple of years now. Once the Packers lose, once their season is over, I'm an Eagles fan for the rest of the year.
It's bang, bang, Bird gang. How you doing? Keep it moving.
Y'all heard him?
And I just got to say, Deej, we hate to do this. We really hate to see it. But we got to start off the show before we get into the lacrosse. We have another ops week on our hands as we enter this weekend. It pains me to do this. He's a friend of the program, a loyal listener,
very loyal,
a massive part of one of our favorite bits on this show. But I hate to do it. I know the people hate for me to do this, but I gotta welcome Casino Stan 88, Brian Knows Lax. Welcome to Ops Week, brother. It's on. It's on. It's fuck Josh Harris week. It's fuck the Commanders. Deej, I am so invested on the Eagles winning this game that I am completely on board with the Philadelphia basketball team that I'm not even mentioning by name because it is owned by Josh Harris. I want them to lose every game going into this NFC Championship game. I want full-blown sacrifice to make sure everything goes the Eagles' way. But Brian, it's Ops Week, brother. And I got to say this, too. I got a question. Now, Deej, I understand you're a Detroit sports fan outside of the Packers, and there's a reason for your Packers fandom, which makes complete sense. Can we talk about Brian? Can we talk about Brian's fandoms real quick? Can we talk about this man's fandoms real quick?
Hey, I'm pretty sure it goes back to like having a core memory of like watching Sean Taylor with his dad or something like that. Like I vaguely remember having a like conversation, like I vaguely remember having a conversation with him about some of his fandoms, and I believe that all of them are like tied
to. How much
very.
cooler Brian would be if he was a Bills fan? Do you know how much cooler he would be?
He's
already cool.
I agree. Listen,
he's cool.
Listen,
there's a nice little like smudge that the Tide pen just won't get out.
Listen,
and that's his Commanders fan.
Yeah, being a Commanders fan is just insane.
Crazy.
So, Ryder, I'm sure you're listening. It's wild, bro. You got to get up out of that.
And hey, if he's been a fan,
is Marcus Holman? Is Marcus Holman a Commanders fan?
He's a Ravens fan.
Or is it Will Manny?
Will's a Giants fan.
Okay, there's somebody else. There's somebody else.
It's Jack.
Fan. Yes, Jack it is Jack. Oh,
but I gotta say this. I gotta ask this, and I know Brian's listening. I gotta ask this, Deej, and I know you'll appreciate me asking this. So if he's been a Commanders fan since the Sean Taylor days, which we all know what that team was referred to then, how he gonna go and say all that thing about a certain somebody, everybody's favorite defender, tweeting a certain something, and then be rooting for a team that's referred to as that?
There was nothing he could do about it.
I got questions.
There was nothing he could do about it. He liked Sean Taylor. That's why they watched.
But there's a difference. You can like Sean. I liked Sean Taylor. I thought he was a dog. I hated that he played for that team.
I'm sure he hated it, but what can he do about it?
Man, I wish Brian would just embrace his upstate like lifestyle and just go jump through tables.
They do be up there.
Get a little mustard sprayed on them. Have you seen that video of the Bills tailgates where the guy like willingly gets covered in mustard?
No.
There's a tailgate. He's like literally before every game, and he goes into the game. These people spray mustard and ketchup on him, like from like the like classic like yellow and red like squeeze bottles, and he gets doused in mustard and ketchup.
That's
like,
nasty.
willingly.
That's
I wish
nasty.
Brian would embrace that side of. I know it's inside him somewhere.
Oh no, that I'll tell you right now, that's not inside.
No, I'm just saying his Bills Mafia, like inner self, is in there somewhere. I feel like the video of the guy where the cat is in the store and you just go, "I'm gonna get you out of there. I'm gonna get you out." That's me to Brian's like upstate Bills fandom. Because how are you gonna be repping the upstate Bulls, Syracuse, and then all the Commanders? Come on, man. Come on. But I'm happy to know that you're on our side in this. I'm happy to know that you're going to be on the right side of history.
I mean, I'm always on the right side of history.
That's valid.
Just by waking up in the morning, you're on the right side of history. So I ain't even gonna trip.
Or in this instance, should we say the correct side of history? If you know, you know. But yeah, Brian, welcome to Ops Week. Go Birds, bang bang bird gang, fly Eagles fly. I also found this hilarious. I talked about this on the main pod with Harrison. The Commanders were playing the Eagles fight song in their practice bubble throughout the entirety of their practice. Do they not know that we don't play that during the whole game? That's only when I guess they're preparing for the Eagles to score a lot of points.
Maybe.
Which, hey, I'm all here for it. But I digress. It's a big week. Bang, bang, bird gang. Big week in the NLL that just happened. And our NLL wrap-up brought to you by our friends over at Buff. Guys, their winter sale is still going on. Check out all of their unique styles and designs, including their Survivor capsules, which are just the best. They've got beanies. We talked about it last week. They got them Buff Shiesties. They got the baseball caps as well, because before you know it, it's the warm weather. I can feel it. I can feel that it's like trying to peek through. There's a light at the end of the tunnel. We're almost there. We still got a little bit of time, but we're almost there, and I can't wait for that sun to just be on our skins. It's going to be glorious after this just brutal winter that has been up and down the East Coast and the Midwest. It has just been foul.
Don't talk to me about brutal winter.
It's everywhere. New Orleans has snow. That's how you know it's a bad winter.
Got snow, but they're not literally freezing.
Yeah, but they don't know how to act, so they are freezing.
No. You don't get it. Like I just told you in text not too long ago, today is the first time in 4 days our temperature has been above 0 degrees.
Yeah, because you're on a lake. You got that lakefront.
Bro,
coming
I'm an hour away from the lake.
The wind blows.
Not no hours worth.
The wind be fast as hell. What you mean?
Not no hours worth.
You never heard of parasailing, windsurfing? Wind moves.
And even the middle of the state is this cold, bro. It's just cold here. Y'all been cold, but man, bro.
I mean, we've been close. Not below 0, but I woke up yesterday, 4 degrees. I was like, what the fuck is going on?
Dude, our wind chills have been negative 20. Like this is not cool.
Like today feels like it's summertime because it's 29 degrees.
Like, dog,
I'm like, I might be able to go outside and get a tan because it's so warm.
My blower motor's been, I think it's like got like a little clog in it or whatever. It's been so cold that it just stopped working. Because like my car couldn't get warm enough to push the hot air through. Like, so I just literally for a day and a half I drove around with no heat in my car. And
Terrible.
It's negative degrees out. Like, bro, winter is not the same everywhere.
Not it.
It's definitely
not it regardless. Unless you live in like Florida or like the Jamaican Islands or somewhere where it's always warm, I want to hear it.
And you know what? This is why Canada moved lacrosse inside. That's exactly why.
And this is why Buff came around, to keep us warm as much as possible. Shop their winter sale. Get 20% off on select items. Use our link in the description and shop with Buff. Shout out to Buff for being a proud partner of OTB and Underground Sports Philadelphia. Deej, let's recap week 8. Let's wrap it up nicely. The Ottawa Black Bears squeak out a 9-8 victory over Vancouver on Friday last week. The Rochester Nighthawks listened to the podcast and said, fuck you, KB. We're going to win the game after you flip-flopped on us. But I guarantee if I didn't flip-flop, Halifax would have won that game and we both would have been fucked. So you're welcome for your pick there. Rochester wins 10-9. Toronto Toronto wins. First time we've said that all year. 11-8 against Saskatchewan. Albany wins. First time we said that in a long time. 13-10 over Colorado. The Buffalo Bandits beat the Wings 19-14. Your Roughnecks win an overtime thriller against the Georgia Swarm 12-11. The Vegas Desert Dogs get a W against the San Diego Seals 12-10 in front of a sold-out crowd. And then on Monday Night Lacrosse, the Philadelphia Wings survive against the Vancouver Warriors 14-13 and get a split decision weekend. Deej, we do have some voicemails, and you guys can leave us your voicemails at speakpipe.com/OTBLaxPod. The voicemail line is open all the time. So leave us a voicemail. Get your thoughts off about your teams. Let us know how you're feeling just in lacrosse in general. Let us know. Speakpipe.com/OTBLaxPod. And I'd be stunned if Brian doesn't leave a voicemail one way or the other next week after this weekend. But here's our first voicemail. I believe this one is from our boy Aiden from the Boston Battery about his Albany Firewolves.
What's up? It's Aiden. Could not bring myself to watch the Firewolves game last night. I did check the score. Haven't finished watching it this morning, but I just want to say finally. I don't know if maybe the key is for the Firewolves to not be winning at halftime. If that's what it takes for them to win, or if it's for me to just not watch and only find out the result of the game the next morning. If that's what it takes to get this team a W, then I'm willing to make that win. I think they got to string a few more together for me to be able to watch the game live again. But, hopefully we get to that point somewhere down the road.
He said, Firewolves, I'll see you in the funny papers.
Hey, bro, me and you are like the same person. Because, bro, I will, what game was it I was watching? I was watching the USC game. Michigan USC this year. Turned it on. Michigan scores. I'm like, okay, we're here. We're vibing. They score a couple. Or, it's like I turned it on. Michigan had already scored. So I was like, oh, things are going well. Okay. And then they, scored, back-to-back. And I was like, or no, sorry. The other way around. Michigan was winning that game at halftime. And I turned it on post-halftime. And they scored right away. And I was like, you know what? I don't think I was supposed to be watching this. So I turned it off. And then I turned it back on with 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and they were winning. And I was like, no way. I was
Can I tell you?
I can't be watching games this year.
I did the same thing with the Wings Bandits game because the Bandits were going on that run. And I was like, let me just put football, because football was on at the same time. I was like, let me just put the football game on. And then I go and check the ESPN app, and I see they're mounting a comeback. And I was like, okay, maybe it's a good thing I kept it off. And they just couldn't overcome. But sometimes you got to do what you got to do. I'm not superstitious, but I am a little stitious. So I respect the attention to detail there from Aiden. And I am dying laughing that he's like, maybe I'll just check the box score. That is some old school sports fan right there. Just checking the newspaper when it gets thrown at your doorstep at 4 a.m. the next day. That's incredible. He said, I'll see you in the funny papers.
Mets fans for a very long time.
But yes, Aiden back to his winning ways. We'll see how long it sustains for the Firewolves, but certainly a good win. And we have one more voicemail, new voicemail caller. Our guy Josh wants to talk about his Seals and if we should be worried about them, Deej.
Hey guys, this is Josh from the Lost in the Woods podcast, the California Redwoods podcast. And to summarize and use the words from Creed, hold me now. I'm 6 feet from the edge and I'm thinking maybe 6 feet ain't so far down. I need you guys to talk me off the ledge with these Seals. I don't know what to think right now. The offense has just been awful, and I know that they're not getting Stotts back, but it just seems very stagnant, and I want to give him the benefit of the doubt, but is it time to move on from Patrick Merrill or make some sweeping changes and retool? Let me know what you guys think. Appreciate it.
First of all, any Creed reference will play. That always plays.
I was trying my hardest to hold it.
Hold me now.
I'm checking their schedule real quick.
Oh. First
'Cause
things
I
first.
wanna
I'll say this.
see.
I'll say this off the rip though. While you check their schedule, you do not need to move on from Patrick Merrill. He's one of the best coaches and GMs in the league, in my opinion. It would be a mistake if they did that.
That was the first
First
thing
and
I was gonna say.
foremost. Secondly, you're right outside the playoffs right now. 3-4. Vancouver has a game in hand, so that obviously comes into play potentially this weekend. Yes,
So
Vancouver plays this weekend, so like that could go your way in terms of like tiebreakers and stuff like that. So no real need to panic there. But you and I said this preseason about the Seals. It's another season again where they're bringing in 3 or more new pieces on offense in particular that have never really played together, or it's been a long time since they played together, or have never played together at all. And they're banking on them clicking under this system, which I think is a very prolific offensive system. And then you're also adding Zach Currier into that. But the big thing, and we've talked about it since it happened, Trevor Baptiste being out neutralizes so much that can be good with this Seals team. And when you're not getting possessions at the faceoff dot for Ben McIntosh, Rob Hellier, Ryan Benesh, Currier, like the rest of those boys, you're neutralizing a lot of the effectiveness that can come from a prolific scoring offense. And until Trevor comes back, you kind of have to like ride the ship and stay afloat as much as you possibly can, because Trevor is such a huge part of the way that offense goes.
yeah, and looking at their schedule, and even looking at Courier and some of the other pieces they brought in, that goes for the defensive side of the ball as well, which I've said, time and time again, sometimes defense is even more important and harder for that chemistry piece, because you have to know where your teammates are going to be, if they're going to get over or under a screen, if they're going to accept it, how aggressive they're going to be, which way they'd like to give up more often. Like, those are all things that come from chemistry and playing with each other. And arguably you need to have that more on defense. Even though you're talking, you have to know pretty much everything about the 4 other guys, or the 4 to 6 other guys that you're going to be playing defense with. And so he ties into that as well. Chemistry is really a big thing for this team all across the board. But, looking at their schedule, sure, you have dropped, your last 2 games to Vancouver and Las Vegas. Good thing about that is you play Vancouver and Las Vegas, both at home, back-to-back at the beginning of March. You can get both of those games back, which already puts you back ahead of them. What else can get you ahead of them is beating teams that you should beat, like Toronto, like Rochester, like your home and home with Albany later in the year. Those are going to be important games. And then you got to beat other playoff teams. Calgary right now, a playoff team. Buffalo, you have a home with. Saskatchewan, who's your next game. These have to be wins to separate yourself from the Vancouver and Las Vegas, who you lost to. And then you got to be able to cover those up when you invite them into Pechanga in March. So I think they have all the opportunities to fix everything that will fix whatever it is on field that is taking them away from success. And then they also have the opportunities in front of them to even the scoreboards in standings and such, and even place themselves ahead of some of these teams. So I think no need to panic just yet. Just time to go to the drawing board and really handle some things.
And I mean, you look at the table right now, like I think we can kind of do it in almost like a tier list where like Buffalo is obviously S tier. They're top of the table right now. They're undefeated. Granted, they've played fewer games than a lot of the other teams that are in playoff positioning right now, but still undefeated. Philly, I would say, is right below them at 5-2. They're playing great lacrosse right now. With all the games they've played, Philadelphia scored 100-plus goals already this season, which is fantastic for their offense. And then I think the next tier below the Wings is Ottawa, Saskatchewan, Calgary, Georgia. And you could probably throw Colorado in there.
I would maybe even – the weird thing about Georgia is like –
I was going to say Georgia, maybe not.
Their numbers like don't quite add up. Like but like it's that same thing as Albany a couple years ago where their scores are just lower because like they're not giving up as many shots and they're also holding the ball a little bit on the other side.
They're just playing a shit ton
their
of one-goal games.
And they're really tight games. So like it's hard to say that they shouldn't be that high, but at the same time you could say that they should be that high.
Yeah, I'll actually say Ottawa, Saskatchewan, Calgary, Colorado are like the next tier below the Wings. Like that's that like middle table. Very like I think right now those are like as close to playoff teams that we've seen from like consistent performances across the board. Then Georgia, because we've said last week and this week, they're 4-3. They're playing a lot of one-goal games, a lot of overtime games. They have a negative score differential, which is not great. And then Vancouver's kind of in that weird spot too, where like we'll see as the season continues how long they can ride, the way their defense and goaltending has been playing. It's been good so far, but it's still in a spot where you want to see more. But I think Georgia and Vancouver are the two teams that if you're on the outside looking in the playoffs right now, if you're San Diego, Rochester, Halifax, Albany, maybe Toronto, who knows, and Vegas, if you're trying to claw back and get into the playoffs, those are the two teams I think you're trying to overcome the most right now are Georgia and Vancouver to get into that 7-8 spot.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting the next couple of weeks how things play out because some of these teams are playing each other. So that's going to move the board a lot. And the best way to do it, win your games. That's it. You win your games and you let everybody else worry about everybody else. Really just focusing on yourselves, how you can be your best and win the games that are in front of you.
I will start with what stood out to me this weekend, obviously with the Wings and being there on Monday, which was fantastic. I'll start with the Buffalo game, though. Very similar to the San Diego game week 1 for the Wings. Like, the Wings go down early. It was like bloodbath type of shit. They let Buffalo kind of just go on this roll, and Josh Byrne was finding his way with that 10-goal second quarter. You eliminate that, and I know you can't, it's a hypothetical, but you eliminate just that onslaught that they had. I thought, relatively speaking, the Wings played a great 3 quarters of this game. You can't let a team go on a 10-goal blitzkrieg of you whatsoever. But again, the Wings showed signs of why they're performing the way they are this season. They took calculated shots. They went 3 for 3 on the power play. They have the best power play in the league statistically. They managed well at the faceoff dot, with 37 faceoffs going up against Connor Farrell. I thought they performed relatively well. They won 13 of 37. And the big thing that stuck out to me that was similar to the San Diego game, you're going into halftime and it's 13-5 and you make adjustments, you battle back. Obviously, it's tough to overcome 10 goals there, but they never quit. At one point, it was 16-13 or 16-14. I was more pleased that in a game like this, the closest it got was like 16-13 and then 17-14. In a game like this where you can see a team kind of just fold when you go down that early, and it's just like you just start taking shots for the sake of taking shots. I thought the way the Wings played in the second half, and in particular that fourth quarter, where they just did not bend the knee and they were like, we're not going to go down without a fight. that to me was a sign of this is a different franchise than what they were last year. Last year, they go down and give up 10 in a quarter. The Wings probably score 8 goals total in that game. The fact that they have this never say die mentality, the fact that they are not going to let some team just steamroll them without them battling back and until that final whistle blows, is a sign of a team that knows they have what it takes to go and contend and be in form. I like the way they battled. Buffalo's a fantastic team. And I said going into this, like, I picked the Wings to win, but I said it was going to be a litmus test to see where you were. And not that the Wings are in the echelon of the Bandits right now. It was a good sign for me to say, like, hey, if they clean some things up, they can hang with a team like Buffalo. They can be in a game with them if they play their game correctly. So overall, like, not the result you want, not the second quarter you want, but at the end of the day, very pleased at the fact that they did not just like bend over in a hostile environment, no less, in Bandit Land, and really made it a game towards the end. So very, very happy with just the way that they performed. The box score is not going to tell you the whole story of that game.
The box score never tells you the whole story. I thought that game was also a very fun game to watch. As somebody who picked Buffalo, in comparison to you who picked Philly, and knowing that would be one of those games that was on the cusp. The run from Buffalo was like almost expected. Like, it was long, and that's probably tough to play through, but like they're at home, they're playing well, and the fans were enjoying it thoroughly. So they fed off of that energy, and then all of a sudden, Philly really fought back, and I think that's something to kind of pay attention to. Is I don't think other teams are going to be able to close out games against Philly if they get in that kind of mode. Buffalo is definitely at a different strength, both offensively and defensively, than a lot of other teams in the league. But wow, did they really make that game fun? The Wings did coming back, so I really enjoyed watching that game.
And like, not that we ever want to get too ahead of ourselves, but Adam Levy tweeted, I think last week, he talked to a former 2-time NLL champion and said that person thinks the NLL finals is going to be the Wings and the Bandits. You're telling me the way those two offenses are playing right now, you wouldn't sign up for a 3-game series for a title between those two in two of the best like sports cities environments to go between Buffalo and Philadelphia for the NLL finals? That would be electric.
I'm tired of you in this Philly. No, I'm playing. I'd be here for it. I'd find a way to make it to a game. I'll tell you that much.
Oh, yeah. I'd be like the Kylian Mbappe meme. I will be there no matter what.
That's the opposite of I ain't going to be there.
That is literally the polar opposite. And then Monday night lacrosse. I was in the building. Weird game. Like, it was a clean game. There was only 4 penalties the entirety of the game, so it was very fluid. Both teams had 5-goal quarters. The Wings had 2 of them, thankfully. I'm going to start with one thing that gave me a heart attack in this game. Were you watching the entirety of this game?
Yes.
Okay, so I want you to fast forward to like seconds left in that fourth quarter.
Uh-huh.
I think there was 17 seconds left on the clock. The Wings come up with a turnover, and they're running down the floor. Vancouver has empty net. I couldn't tell who had the ball and decided to shoot that ball. But whoever shot that ball, my brother in Christ, you did not need to shoot that ball whatsoever. The fact that he shot that with that much time left on the clock, and it was that errant of a shot. You
don't get it.
Here, in the press box, Adam Levy was there. It was me and Adam and a couple other people, but Adam and I look at each other, and we were like, oh, no. We were like, what are you doing? And then Vancouver comes up with a loose ball. And then that sequence at the end, which I did get clarification on why that goal did not count at the end. Adam sent some texts out to people. So apparently in that review, what they saw and why it wasn't overturned to be a good goal, because it was called no goal on the floor. So when that shot was taken, and I forget who took that shot for Vancouver, he's clearly in the crease when he takes the shot, right? Ball bounces. It's not across the line yet, though. So you're waiting to see if he reestablishes his footing and everything, which he does. But apparently the ruling was the ball, when it bounced to go between Damude's legs, like through his 5-hole, it bounced off the shooter's leg and not the wing's defender's leg. So because of that, that's a crease violation. It's not a reestablishment, and that's why it was a no goal. Which I know they didn't explain that on the broadcast from the referees, but that was the reasoning for anybody that was still wondering why. Because we couldn't tell either, because it was at the far end of the floor from where we were in the press box, so you can't really see when the ball bounces or what movement it makes, but it bounced off of the shooter's leg, which therefore makes it a crease violation, and the Wings survived there. But that shot at the end that the Wings took, I was like, what are we doing? You don't need to shoot it there. You could take your time. He could have just deposited that right in front of the net. It would have been game over.
You don't get it because you don't play.
I get it from a
you take it as soon as you
smart
can.
decision making.
You just gotta ice it. You just gotta ice it.
Right.
Hey, but what I'm gonna tell you is they laughed about it, and they told him that he ain't allowed to shoot no more.
He better take some laps at practice.
Nah, he gonna take no lap. He just ain't got the green light to shoot no more, which sucks.
Man,
that's like the worst thing you can lose.
Who is it that doesn't have a green light on the Cannons?
Is it? No, it's not Cannons. It's
No, the Cannons. He doesn't have a green light from 2. Brian said everyone has the green light except for somebody.
Is it Jeff?
Zach Goodrich.
Yeah.
It's Goodrich and Squires don't have green lights in the PLL.
Yeah,
Whoever
Squires. Squires is funny.
Whoever that was from I have to go back and look at the broadcast and just fast forward to that spot and see who took that shot, because I'm gonna be like, brother, what were you thinking? I almost had my heart sunk out of my body when he shot that. I was like, oh my God, you just threw away the game. Thankfully, that goal didn't count at the end. But a good performance. Obviously a Monday night crowd too is tough when a game gets rescheduled. It's at 5:00, which is like a lot of time people are getting out of work, but still a very solid crowd in my opinion. Big thank you to the Wings too. They provided all the media members with the giveaway. So I got a nice little 90s Wings fanny pack, which is pretty sweet.
I saw that.
It's fire. Love it. Dude, I was asking Adam about this because obviously Adam is more in tune with a lot of the NLL because he's been covering it longer than us. And he agreed with me. The 1A duo in the NLL right now, and I think your duo with Calgary is in the top 5 for sure with Dane and Curtis. The 1A to Josh and Dane right now is Mitch Jones and Joe Restaris. Those two are playing out of their goddamn minds right now, and it's so fun to watch. Adam literally turns to me and says, after Joe scored, then Mitch scored one of his goals. He was like, I think they're just out there just trying to one-up each other, and they're having fun doing it. And it is so goddamn fun watching those two just go goal for goal with one another. Like, Mitch had 5 in this game. He had 11 points. The first goal he scored was absolute sicko mode. Like, he saw Josh Byrne do that on Saturday. He saw Brendan O'Neill do that for the Outlaws and said, oh, let me give it a try. Just shovel shot. It was unbelievable. Got the place buzzing. And those two are just so much fun right now. And they are, I know Laxmag put out like their top, I think it's top 25 or top 50 players in the league right now. And both Joe and Mitch are in their top 5. And I think rightfully so. They're playing out of their minds right now. And it's so much fun to watch, whether you're a Wings fan or just a fan of the sport. those two are lighting the league on fire.
I mean, as long as they're not playing your team, I'm sure you're enjoying watching them.
Which I'm sure on Monday night you were enjoying watching them.
Yeah, because it was Monday.
Right.
And they were playing against Vancouver, which helped us out. I'll tell you that much. Anybody who's beating Vancouver is helping my Roughnecks out. So we're here for that. But no, even when the Roughnecks did play Philly, I enjoyed watching that game. It basically was like
that was a great game.
Watching a 2-on-2 basketball game. It was like watching
it was NBA Jam.
Yeah, but it was basically like watching like it was like watching the 2012 Heat versus the Thunder in the NBA Finals. It was clearly 2-on-2, but then there was like added help around.
Yeah.
Dude, but it was so
speaking
much fun.
of that, I just thought, because you know how everyone's talking about lacrosse video games all the time, and if you don't know, go listen to episodes we talked about it. Do you know how sick it would be if there was a lacrosse video game, but it was NLL Jam? Just 2-on-2, just freestyle type of stuff. That
actually would go kind of hard.
That would be sick.
I mean, it's out there now. Somebody's gonna hear it.
We're gonna have to make shirts. We're gonna have to partner with the NLLPA and make shirts with name, image, likeness for NLL Jam duos. What would it be? Josh and Dane, Joe and Mitch, Curtis and Dane.
Well, you got to think though, because like if you was a real NBA Jam player, you know it's about 5 players per team, so right. You really could, man, and you could put together some squads. Like,
right?
Give me, hold on. Give me motherfucking Trey LeClaire and Zach Currier. Who's beating that? Who's beating that? Nobody. Nobody. Give me Ian and Dane. Ian McKay, Dane Smith. Who's stopping that? Nobody. Like, Ian done popped off for 5 goals twice this year. And he's still could still arguably be in the Defensive Player of the Year conversation. So, like, who's stopping that?
Brennan and Joe?
That would be fun.
That's just power dynamic right there. That's big body lacrosse.
I mean, you know, man, bro, I could put together so many 2 pieces up there.
Leave us voicemails with your NLL Jam teams.
Give me Eli and Superman. Give me
Jesse King and Dane.
Nah, I want Kinger with Cookie.
True.
Give me Ticehurst with Dane.
Blaze and Joe, that little upstate
like,
New
bro,
York.
now this needs to happen because I could put together some squads.
Randy Stotts and Cody Jameson.
Man. I mean, you put it out there now.
But I mean, looking at that is NLL Jam is copyright trademark Outside the Box Podcast 2025, all rights reserved, patent pending. Underground Sports Philadelphia LLC. But looking at the stats right now, like Joe Restaret's leading the league in assists with 41. He's leading the league in points with 58. Mitch Jones is right behind him with 57. The next closest is Dane Smith with 48. And then right after Dane is Holden Catoni at 46. Like the way the Wings offense is operating right now is just like light years ahead of what we have seen in years past. And it's unfortunate in this game, too. Scott Dominy gets injured, finds out, tore his ACL. He's going to be out for the year. Hope Scooter has a quick and healthy and successful recovery. But then the Wings go out and sign Evan Messenger this week, who, to my knowledge, I was like, wasn't he on Saskatchewan? Didn't they make a big deal about him going back and they cut him after training camp? And I had no idea. That's a huge signing. And you and I were talking about it. Like, this was before we found out about the Dominy injury, like the extent of it. That's a move that a team makes when they know that they have a good shot at contending. You go out and you make those moves when players are available. We saw him do it with Callum Crawford. Obviously didn't fit, so he was only here for a week. But, when you need somebody, you go out and make a move. And I love that the Wings are being aggressive with making moves now, too, where they're not giving up draft capital.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was a very smart move. You go out and get a piece to help, especially with a piece going down, whether that was a large, part in this deal or not, it kind of doesn't matter. If you're able to get him on top of Domini, now we're really talking. But I think he's going to slide back into that spot that Domini took and be able to do even more than what you expected from Scott Domini due to his time and experience in the league already. So I'm thoroughly excited to see him in a Wings jersey. And by the way, those Wings jersey this weekend, fire.
Amazing. Make them permanent. Make them the permanent third jersey. Because I genuinely think the Wings have some of the best jerseys across the board in the NLL, both home and away. But those jerseys were beautiful. The wings on the shoulders, they were perfect. And you know how I am. I'm very particular with like numbers being on the front of the jersey and the placement of them. The small number down the center looked good. It was they were gorgeous. And I tweeted, these should be the permanent third jerseys. The captain, Blaze Reardon, liked the tweet. So Blaze agrees, apparently. So make those things. Those were spectacular. Big win for the Toronto Rock this weekend. They finally get on the board. They win 11-8 over Saskatchewan. It would have been nice going into our picks to know that both TD Ierlan and Tom Schreiber were going to be back. But they get a win. But even with a win, things get more muddy for Toronto as Jamie Dawick announced on Lacrosse Classified, I believe. I apologize if I'm forgetting which podcast it was. He announced that Mark Matthews is out for the season.
Oh, Jesus.
So it's like one step forward, two steps back. Mark Matthews done for the year. But that's a big win. That's an unfortunate below the radar litmus test for Saskatchewan. That's a game you want to see this Rush team go out and win. But that's a huge win for Toronto. Like, if they lost this game, I think you have to start like pivoting on how you viewed your season. And I think this was kind of just like a welcome to the league moment for Jake Naso too, where like he's been dominating at the stripe and it's like, oh, all of a sudden now I have to go up against TD. I think this might have been the first game that Jake lost the face-off battle all season. So definitely a like kind of eye-opening moment for him, with just going up against one of the sports unicorns, as we like to call them. But that doesn't take away that Jake's been fantastic this year. And, winning 9 face-offs against TD is nothing to sneeze at, too, when you're a rookie and you're on the road. But, I mean, Toronto won this game in the third quarter. They had a 4-1 third quarter victory, and that's basically because the rest of the game was tied. They won the game in the third quarter.
Yeah, I mean, you could see that they kind of pushed ahead when TD and Tom Schreiber, those guys kind of settled into the game and they really were able to move the ball around and have possession of the ball. And they took a few steps and then kind of just didn't really let up. But Saskatchewan definitely made it a game and they were there, but it was just a couple of mental mistakes here and there that really cost them this one.
Your boys get an overtime win. Big time. Big tings on that teal turf.
Talk about stress.
It was like a battle of your favorite children, your favorite team against your favorite player.
Yeah, bro. And he diced us up a couple times, too.
Hey, I know I talked about it after Calgary came to Philly. Justin Inacio has revived his career, man. He has been spectacular this season. And if a PLL team does not come calling for him, you're missing out on like pure talent, because that dude, he is stronger than I ever remember him being in his career. He looks fantastic at the stripe.
That makes me very happy to hear. I also believe this is true, but it's just great.
24 of 27 faceoffs. That's nasty.
Yeah, he had a fantastic game. I think he was a big part of the reason why we ended up winning the game.
100%.
We've talked so much. Yeah, I said we've talked so much about how important possessions are. So,
and I mean, I think the one thing that you want to clean up is, if you're Calgary, is your power play and your penalty kill. and just kind of being more disciplined. Like, you let Georgia get 7 power play opportunities in this one. Granted, you prevented them from going over 50%. They went 3 of 7, but still not great, especially when you go 0 for 4 on your power play. So that's definitely something I think moving forward, going into this week, especially against Toronto, that you definitely want to fix.
Bruh, don't even get me started. Don't even get me started. I literally was like crying every time we got a penalty. So I'm like, do y'all not know who they have on the other side? We can't just be giving them free opportunities, bro. We're literally gifting them what they want. Just chances to score.
And then Vegas in front of a sold-out crowd, a 12-10 victory over San Diego. Good win for Vegas, good win for Albany, like we mentioned, and a good win for Rochester. And the table right now going into a short week 9 is pretty jam-packed in the middle, but there's some definite like tiers, like we mentioned. Buffalo at the top at 5-0, Philly at 5-2 in second place all by themselves, Ottawa at 4-2, Saskatchewan at 4-2, Calgary at 3-2, Georgia at 4-3, Colorado at 4-3, Vancouver at 3-3. Those are the playoffs right now. And then on the outside looking in, it's San Diego at 3-4, Rochester at 3-5, Halifax at 2-4, Vegas at 2-5, Albany at 2-5, and Toronto at 1-5.
I am a little shook about us playing basically 2 less games than everybody but Buffalo in the top right now. So, like, are we really in the playoffs right now, or is
you
that
can
gonna
look at
catch
that
up?
as good and bad. It's like, hey, we're 3-2, we're scoring,
But,
we
like,
want
we
to clean
also
up the
kinda
defense.
know what we have to do because it's
Right.
in front of us.
Exactly.
Yeah. But, like, I mean,
I think you're in a better spot than Georgia.
okay, I'll
And
take that.
Georgia's played 7 games. I think you guys are in a much better spot, especially since you just beat them head-to-head too. Short week in the NLL this week. 2 Friday games, 2 Saturday games. We'll get into our Week 9 preview. It is brought to you by our friends over at Tomahawk Shades, the best small batch eyewear in the game. From sunglasses to blue light glasses to prescription lenses, they've got you covered with a quality product that is far better than those big eyewear companies for a fraction of the price. And you guys know we subscribe to the fact that you need sunglasses during this time of the year, more so than in the summertime, because when that snow reflects in your eyes, you go blind. You need sunglasses in the wintertime. Go to tomahawkshades.com or download the Tomahawk Shades app in the App Store, Google Play Store. And when you go to checkout, use code USP for 25% off your next order at tomahawkshades.com or in the Tomahawk Shades app. That's code USP for 25% off your next order from our friends at Tomahawk Shades. Week 9, Deej, 4 games. It gets started Friday at 9 p.m. Your Roughnecks hosting the Toronto Rock. And then at 10 p.m., it's a rematch, this time in Vancouver. Ottawa versus Vancouver, which both your Roughnecks and the Vancouver Warriors have released their Indigenous heritage logos. And hachi machi, are they gorgeous.
Yeah, I saw that profile pic change because, I got their tweets on notif. So I saw that right. I was like, hey, yo.
Did you see Vancouver's?
Fire. I have not.
Go look at Vancouver's. I want to see
I
your
really
genuine...
hope I hope
that
we wear,
needs to be Vancouver's permanent logo.
I just hope we wear a special jersey this weekend.
That would be sick. That needs to be Vancouver's permanent logo.
Did they change? Is it
they put a post out?
Oh, hold on, let me go see it then. Oh yeah, I like that a lot.
That thing is fire.
Yeah,
it's so much like their logo now is like fine, but that logo like over the top makes it so much
like
cooler.
At first I thought, I was like, wait, is Calgary bringing the color back? Because yes.
Yes.
And then I was like, oh, okay, this is fine too. But I really hope we wear a special jersey.
And then Saturday at 7 p.m. Eastern time, we got Colorado at Rochester. And then at 8 p.m., it's Albany at Saskatchewan. What are we looking forward to the most in this short week in the NLL? Just 4 games. Some things can change a little bit in the table, obviously, with Ottawa playing, with Calgary playing, Colorado, and Saskatchewan. So some things can turn, not like major turnover, but some things can definitely shift for these 8 teams. How we feeling going into week 9?
I mean, I'm just focused on a dub this week. We need to really handle business against a team that probably is really excited coming off of a win, their first win of the year, and feeling like they may have finally kind of figured it out for themselves. So obviously, I have that one, starred for tomorrow night. That's my entertainment. And then Ottawa and Vancouver, who have both been playing very well this year. Very excited to watch that. And then the other two they're there. And I think the only thing I really like about it is that its implications for playoffs and standings at the moment definitely could use a loss from both Saskatchewan and Colorado. So I'll be looking at those. I don't know if I'll pick them to take losses, but losses wouldn't hurt.
Yeah, I think Colorado and Rochester is going to be a ton of fun. Both very talented offenses, so that could be an absolute barn burner. I think Calgary, that's a huge game for you guys. JI versus TD is going to be absolute. Get your popcorn ready at the face-off stripe. And Ottawa, Vancouver, I think is going to be very sneaky. These two teams played each other last week. Vancouver, played on Monday, so a very short turnaround time for them. So we'll see how they kind of, bounce back from a long road trip, because they were in Ottawa on Friday, and then they were in Philly on Monday, now back home on Friday. So 3 games in the course of 7 days is nothing to sneeze at there, but we'll see how that shakes out. And then Albany trying to build momentum against a Saskatchewan team. Those two teams, the youngest in the league, I think, by average age. So that's going to be a battle too. Naso versus Joe Nardella. Let's go. Fire me up. And I think this is a rematch too from week 1, if I'm not mistaken. So going to be a get your popcorn ready type of weekend. And I like the games are staggered just enough that you'll be able to get your fixins in before the Birds do what they got to do on Sunday, baby. Without any further ado, though, let's head over to the pick pond and dish out our
Picky ponds.
duck feeding for the week as we get
Which
set.
I've been doing exceptionally great in so far.
It is the Week 9 NLL Picks of the Week, brought to you by Kenwood Beer, the official beer partner of Underground Sports Philadelphia. It's a refreshing light beer, just 4.1% ABV, 120 calories, just 8 grams of carbs. Go to kenwoodbeer.com and use the Kenny Finder to see who's got Kenwood Beer on tap in the Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, Maryland, New Jersey, and Delaware areas. You can also find Kenwood Beer at your local liquor stores in those markets. Must be 21 or older to do so. And, of course, please drink responsibly. Again, that's kenwoodbeer.com, and use the Kenny Finder to see who's got ice-cold Kenwood beer on tap for your lacrosse and NFL weekend. Deej, we start with your boys on that teal turf.
You ain't even got to ask me.
Also, our records were you go into the week after a 5-3 weekend. You're 28-17. I'm 20-25. So I certainly need a 4-0 week this week to get back on my winning ways. But I know you're going Calgary. I'm also going Calgary. I think
Smart
the home
choice.
floor advantage is huge. I think Justin Inacio has been playing out of his mind, and I don't trust Toronto. Sure, they won a game, but they haven't shown us on a consistent basis.
That's one. I feel that. That's one.
The nightcap on Friday, Ottawa and Vancouver. A rematch of last Friday's game, just in Vancouver this week. I personally, after seeing Vancouver up close and personal, was very impressed with their offense. They're scrappy. They're fun. I don't know. Ottawa's 4-2. They have a 5, they're a 0 goal differential. They're playing good lacrosse, but they're also making a lot of very weird mistakes that I wouldn't expect from them. I'm going home floor advantage. I'm taking Vancouver to get a dub.
This one's tough because it was only a one goal game last time.
Right. And low scoring.
Yeah, it was an 8-9 game. I think it will be low scoring again. I'm going to rock with Vancouver. There's been some shaky things in the Ottawa offense the last couple of weeks. Hoping they break out of that soon, but it's kind of some things that they're not like huge issues, but there's some disconnect there.
Jeff's turning the ball over more than I would like.
He's just not looking to score. He's very facilitative this year, which I'm okay with. Like, he's still easily having a large impact on the game. I just think, like, there's some pieces where, like, Larson Sundown hasn't been himself the last couple of weeks. Like those kind of things are what I'm saying. Like, Jake Stevens isn't quite providing the same spark he did in the transition game at the beginning of the year. So it's like those things not quite, like, X's and
a lot
O's.
of it's the defense, too. Like we said preseason. It's like you can't let Higgy do everything. Saturday at 7, Colorado, Rochester. I think it's going to be the highest scoring game of the week, in my opinion. But I'm going with the road team to get a win because I think Colorado's offense is prolific. Not that Rochester's can't be. We just haven't seen it on a consistent enough basis. And I think Colorado's got more on the back end defensively and Dylan Ward to get the job done and get a W.
Colorado's just been enjoying playing lacrosse with each other. You can see that they're having fun. And that's the big piece about it that's drawing me to take Colorado is they're enjoying being out on the floor with each other.
Final game, Albany, Saskatchewan. Saskatchewan looking to bounce back. Albany's coming off a win, trying to go back-to-back for the first time all year. These two teams played week 1 to a 10-9 overtime with Saskatchewan coming out on top. And genuinely, I think both of these teams are very different than what they were week 1. I think the home floor plays a huge aspect in this. Saskatchewan's a tough place to play. I think they're still playing very good lacrosse, even though they lost last week. I think they have a sour taste in their mouth. I think it's going to come down to who gets those possessions. I think the way that Saskatchewan's offense is playing on a consistent basis, I like that a lot more. I'm going to go with the Rush to get a win at home.
Albany has fallen off big in part due to their defense, and they woke up last week, but I'm not sure if I have enough confidence to stick with them again. And Saskatchewan has one of the best home floor advantages in the NLL, so I have to take that into account. And this could go either very good or very bad for us because we're the same down the board.
So there it is. We're both going Calgary, Vancouver, Colorado, and Saskatchewan in this short week in the NLL. And those are our NLL Week 9 picks of the week brought to you by Kenwood Beer. Final thing here before we hop on out of here. It's brought to you by the PLL app. Download the PLL app. New PLL Nation season starts January 28th. Next week. By the time we record next week, new PLL Nation season gets underway. Download the PLL app. Go to the App Store, Google Play Store, and go to the redeem code section in the app and type in OTB Pod. That's code OTBPOD, and you'll get 500 XP on your account. We love the PLL app. It's our number one destination to get all the latest news, notes from around the league, play PLL fantasy, trivia, all that good stuff. It's the coolest app out there for a sports league. So download the PLL app and use code OTBPOD for 500 XP on your account. Obviously, we want to see how it shakes out on the floor, but just giving our initial reactions here to the WLL Championship Series rosters being revealed. Deej, how are we feeling about the rosters?
I am torn off the simple fact that I don't know where to go. All right. Like, Charging has tons of Northwestern alums. The Guard have a ton of Notre Dame alums. Palms have a ton of UNC alums, but that also would give me some synergy between the Woods and the Palms, both being West Coast teams in California, I feel like if I become a Palms fan, I'm just West Side. I'm West Side to
Cali
the coast.
Deej.
Like I might as well just hop on a plane and move out there. Like, I'm pretty much just abandon the Midwest if I don't. But like I also don't feel that way because like the Woods are so Notre Dame heavy and like Nat is in Ohio and like there's a lot of Midwest connections on that team as well. If I do stick along the Midwest route, do I go more Notre Dame because they're technically closer to home, or do I go more Northwestern because I watch more Northwestern women's lacrosse? Like, I don't know where to go. Like the guard, I don't really like that name. The charging is
An
quite
adverb.
the controversial topic on Twitter right now. But I don't care too much about charging. Like that's fine. The Palms, okay. Actually, like that sounds like a place I'd want to live one day. Like, hey, where you live? Oh, I live on the Palms. Like that sounds dope. I could rock with that. So what I think I have decided is that all of these rosters are absolutely loaded. I know that I will not be a Charm fan because almost everything in me hates Maryland. So not even an option.
There's one simple reason that I am getting behind the Charm, and that's because Lizzie Colson, my GOAT, Eagles
Hey,
fan.
listen,
I love Lizzie.
I have no beef with anybody on the Charm. I just won't be a Charm fan.
Right. This
Y'all are
is
crazy.
what Brian should have done with the Commanders. I got no beef with Sean Taylor, but I can't be a Commanders fan.
See, like, but it's different because I got beef with the Whip Snakes, just not everybody on the Whip Snakes.
Stags,
and not
you hear that?
And not their coach either. Stags be cool. You my dog. But I think it's going to come down to jerseys coming out. And I think that's going to be kind of one of those deciding factors for me. Possibly coaches may influence that as well. And I may not even pick a squad until after the Champ Series. So I get a chance to look at them and see how this first season is going to go and then kind of make a decision from there. So there's a lot of questions.
The charging roster is loaded with people who have interacted with us podcast wise too. So we're just hoping that everyone has fun at the end of the day.
Yes.
But obviously we're a huge Izzy Skane pod. Shout out Mama Skane. She listens to the show now. And like Kylie O'Miller, we love Ryland. Got to support. But yeah, these rosters are loaded. And like you said, I'm excited for the jersey reveals. But man, when I saw the Palms roster, I was like, ooh, that's a squad.
It's loaded.
Plus they got Taylor Marino.
It's loaded.
Like, that's a nasty squad. Like, oof. Just looking at it right now, I'm looking up and down the roster and like, god damn. Like, I know everyone's looking at that charging roster, but don't sleep on the Palms. They're pretty nasty. And I mean, I like the Charm roster a lot too. They're gonna be fun. This whole women's Champ Series is gonna be so much fun. I'm so excited for it.
Yeah, no, I'm just excited for Champ Series, the whole bow. I'm really upset that I won't be there during the week, and I'm only restricted to the weekend. But responsibilities are responsibilities.
A baby's got to do what a baby's got to do. Quote Tommy Pickles.
Facts.
I got sponsorbilities.
I do have sponsorbilities, and I gotta handle
them. But leave us a voicemail, leave us a comment. Let us know how you feel about the women's rosters, who you're rooting for in the Champ Series, and all that good stuff. And we are looking forward to being at the 2025 Championship Series in less than a month, Deej. Less than a month.
Yes, sir.
Let's go. That's all we got for you guys on this episode. Short, sweet, and to the point this week. Make sure you guys are following us on the socials at OTB LaxPod across the board. Follow us on the socials. It's going across the ticker at the bottom of the show, and it's linked in the description. Subscribe to the pod, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts in audio form. Leave a 5-star review. It really helps the show continue to grow, helps more people find Outside the Box and all of our podcasts here at Underground Sports Philadelphia. And subscribe to the Underground Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel, youtube.com/@Underground Sports Philadelphia. That is where you get full video episodes of this show every week, full video episodes of every show on our network, clips, shorts, live streams, original video content. We're 94 subscribers away from 1,000. Let's get there sooner rather than later. Subscribe. Also, go check out the Run Out Pod. Your boy was a guest on the most recent episode with the boy Neil. That episode is out now. We'll link that in the description as well. Shout out to Neil. I had a blast on that show. I'm sure Deej will be a guest on there before we know it as well. Ton of fun.
Sure.
Just chopping it like 2 hours with Neil on the show and then like another hour and a half off pod. It was a ton of fun. Go check that out. It's linked in the description. Go subscribe to The Runout. He does a great job with that show. And this has been another episode. Also, check out Shootout For Soldiers. shootoutforsoldiers.com/events. Register for any of their upcoming events this year, starting in February, March, May, July, August. They've got them all. It's linked in the description. Find out how to register, donate, and volunteer. shootoutforsoldiers.com/events. And this has been episode number 359 of the award-nominated, honorably mentioned, number 9 NCAA ranked, and of course, viewable on YouTube, Outside the Box podcast, the official lacrosse podcast on the Underground Sports Philadelphia Podcast Network. For Deej, I'm KB. Enjoy this weekend of NLL action. Bang, bang, Bird Gang. Go Birds. Fuck the Commanders. Fuck Josh Harris. Let's fucking fly to the Super Bowl, baby. We'll see you guys next week. Peace.
Peace.